What is up, guys? Chris here, Bear Market Mining. Thanks again for stopping by. So today we're talking about this guy. Now, no, this is not a graphics card. This is in fact a solo Bitcoin miner. This is the HashCard from JingleMiner, and it does exactly what you think. It solo mines Bitcoin. So today we're going to take a look at exactly how this all works. We're going to have a look at a bit of the setup, what you'd need to do if you wanted to get into solo Bitcoin mining, and of course find out how much it costs, and if you've ever got a chance of hitting a Bitcoin block worth around 300,000 US dollars. Let's get into it. All right, so let's take a look at this straight out of the box as it focuses here. So as we can tell, it looks just like a graphics card. It's got a little PCIe slot down there. It's got our fans, it's got heat sinks you can see inside here as well. It's even got the mounting bracket, the same mounting bracket that your GPUs would have, as well as a Wi-Fi dongle and Ethernet connection. So you don't just need to connect this with Wi-Fi, you can also use Ethernet, which is going to give you much better ping and much better chances of hitting a block. Also on the front here, it's got, my hands are always backwards here, it's got an LED screen, and it's also got a standard what looks like 8-pin PCIe power connector. So I'm assuming this is where the power will come in. So we'll have a look at the connector there as well. And yeah, like we said, also got your standard PCIe connector if it was to go into a computer, but I'm not assuming this would work if you plugged it in like that. I could be wrong though. So let's see what else we got in here. Got our standard brick. This is our power supply, up to 400 watts it says. So this would just plug in like so, right at the top here. Bang, very straightforward. Then we have another power connector that it comes with right here. So, you know, you would then just plug that into that like so. Now I am in Australia, so I have an AU plug, but it does also come with this universal power point connector, right? So you can just plug your power cable in there, then you just pick which one, you know, you need depending on where you are around the world. So that's the AU plug there. No, it's not. That's only got 2 prongs. Don't know. It probably says it on there, but you can figure that out. So let's get this thing plugged in. We'll do a first run and we'll see what shows up here on this LED screen, because that's going to give us our Wi-Fi signal if you are connected like that. And then I can sort of take you through briefly how you would set this thing up. All right, so we are all plugged in. All I've got to do now, let's slide this back a little bit, is press this power button, turn it on off screen like so. And those fans are spinning and this LED screen is lighting up right there, which is exactly what we want. Now, when you're setting this up on this screen, it will come up with a Wi-Fi network and password. You're going to use that and log into that on your phone or on your computer. Just search for it and it will take you to the dashboard screen that we're going to see next. So you can see up here, it's showing us various different specifications, you know, the power, the hash rate. It's now rolling to a screen that's Bitcoin against USD, $78,185. So it's going to roll through back and forth. It's going to show us our hash rate in a second, also our temperature, which just spiked up to 48 Celsius, and only currently using about 8 watts. Now, I presume this has not started mining yet because this is advertised at about the 200 watt mark. So as we said previously, if you need any more help on setup on this, check out my solo Bitcoin miner playlist. I've set these up about 10 times at this point and all the information will be there. They're all pretty much exactly the same. So now that we're online, let's jump over to the next page, the dashboard, and I'll show you how to get this thing configured so you can start mining to whatever pool you choose, and most importantly, to your own Bitcoin wallet address. All right, so once we're all logged in, we're gonna land here. This is on the Magic Miner app itself, so you can monitor everything through here and set up all your addresses as you need to. So Very quickly, we'll run through this sort of main page. It's showing you all the obvious stuff, right? It's got your hash rate, your shares, your efficiency, all that sort of stuff. Now, this rejected share rate, you'll often see quite a few rejected shares as it starts to ramp up, but this will disappear later. They're very effective and efficient from what I've noticed in the past. Got your efficiency here, speaking of which is sort of on par with some of your, your big boy ASIC miners, as well as it does share some of the same chips. Got your power reading down here, your input voltage, your ASIC requested voltage as well as your temperature and your fan speed. Now, I like to leave the fan speed and all that sort of stuff as is, but you can do some, undervolting and overclocking with these if you should choose to do so. Down on the left, your swarm. So if you've got a number of different Magic miners and other miners that are compatible with this software, you can simply enter the IP address in here and you can see all of them right through here. So really handy. Now, what are you going to need to do? The most important things. When you started, you logged in on that other network, right? So you're going to want to go in. You can change the name of this miner if you want, and you're going to enter in your own Wi-Fi address and password. Now, it's more than likely it needs to be 2.4G. Most of these are, but don't quote me on that. We'll have a look at the specs later. It might work with a 5G as well. Your pool settings, it will have default pool settings. Now, what you're going to want to do, you can either stick with the default pool, which is fine, or you can change it over. Now, I've gone to public pool just because all of my other miners I've always put on here. And right here, Stratum user, this is the most important part. You want to enter your own Bitcoin wallet address in here, because if you hit a Bitcoin block with this miner, you don't have your wallet address in, it will go to someone else. Really don't want that, right? Further down, we've got the remote monitor if you wanted to get into all that sort of stuff. Got settings as well. You can change the mining performance, normal, efficiency, and if you went custom, it would open up, different sort of stuff as well. You can change the frequency in megahertz, change the voltage. Only do that if you know what you're doing, right? I would just stick to normal for now once you're getting started. And in the system, it's going to tell you network status, your MAC address, all that sort of stuff, and logs, right? If you wanted to see what it was actually doing. It's all fairly straightforward in there. So what we might do next is we might jump on over and have a look at some of the actual specifications of this miner, see what it costs, see what hash rate it's supposed to be making. Then we'll check it on the pool and see what it's doing. So we are over here on JingleMining.com, and shout out to Jingle Mining. They sent me this over to have a look at and to review for you guys. If you want to grab one, you can get one through here. I'll leave a link so you can go down as well. But like I always say, do your research with stuff like this before you go spending any money. You could make a ton of money off this if you're very lucky, or you might never make your money back. But one thing you will do is you will start to learn how to mine Bitcoin. So that's what these things are great for. Now, if we have a look at the price, $559, we do have a discount code which saves you a couple of bucks off it, or a bit of a percentage point. I'm not too sure, so check that out as well. But we've seen the card as well. It's got this little calculator in here, which is pretty cool. It basically just tells you, what your chances are, what it will take to pay this thing back. So, this at my electric rate, well, that's not my electric rate, 1 cent. I'm about 7 cents USD. So this thing's making 12 cents a day, right? It'd take you 161 months. You're not going to do that, right? That's like what, 12, 13 years. These are solo miners, as we've said. Check out my other videos to find out exactly what that means. But basically, if you solo mine and you hit the block, you get the whole block reward, worth about 300,000 US dollars. So you spend 550 less the discount, you might win 300K, right? It's like entering the lotto, but we'll check out the chances of that happening later. And we know some of these specs already. About 200 watts, 12.5 terahash is advertised. So, really cool. Got 180 days warranty through Jingle Mining, so 6 months. It's got 9 chips. Now these are mini ASIC chips that they put in all of these, so pretty cool. 200 watts, as we said, give or take 10%, I think they say. It's less than 40 decibels. I've got this one running on the floor behind me at the moment, and ideally you can't hear it. So they don't make a ton of noise, but you will hear them, like if it's in a living room or something. But The beauty of them is that I put out a fair bit of heat. So, you know, they're good to use if you wanted to do a bit of cheap cooling. Definitely cheaper to cool than with a, you know, a big two-way aircon unit or something like that. Cooling's the air cooling, that the fan. So about 2 kilograms are about, you know, 4.5 pounds. Net weight, gross weight. I presume this is the packaging. Yes, we say to that. The dimensions, figure that out yourself, whatever that is in inches or wherever you're from in the world, but it comes with everything you need, right? So pretty self-explanatory. About 12.5 terahash, you know, at about 200 watts, give or take. So reasonable chances of hitting a block if you compared it to the lotto and things like that, but we'll have a look at that a little bit later. So jumping on over to public pool, we can see I've created a different address here just so you can see this one worker right here. Now, if you wanted to be able to change the name of that, you would simply go into your pool settings and you would put a dot here at the end of your wallet address and then put your worker name. And then that way it would appear as whatever you wanted to call it, right? So at the moment, poolside, which is what's important, about 13.8 terahash. So about that 10% higher than advertised. Can go higher, it can go lower. I would expect this to sort of even out as we leave it online even longer. So good to see it's up and mining. Like we said, these are really beginner friendly. So if you wanted to, you know, test your hand at a bit of Bitcoin solo mining, these are a great way to start. Of course, like we said, do your research before you spend any money on these things. I personally think they're really cool, but I'm not saying to you go and buy one because you could just, you know, lose interest quickly, never make your money back, or you could make a few $100 grand. So you got to be in it to win it, I say. Now, speaking of the odds of hitting a block on one of these, this is a really cool website, sololuck.com. We look at this with all of these little solo miner reviews that we do. So we've entered in here 12.5 terahash. So every day, and that's the cool thing about these, 1 in about 500,000 chance. So yes, that's very, very low, but it's not terrible. If you bought 2 of these, you go to 1 in 250,000. Now, I did a review on one of these miners a long time ago, and you know, the odds were a lot worse, right? It was like 1 in multiple millions or tens of millions. The hash rate was so low. So these are really, really cool. If you wanted to sort of scale as well, that, you know, people are really into them lately. If you got 10 of these, it's 1 in 56,000 or 53,000, much better than the lotto. But of course, you're spending the money to do it. Now, electricity wise, these might cost you about $15 a month, so you probably barely notice it. But why do we do it? It's for that Bitcoin block reward, 3.1 Bitcoin, which, you know, when it's worth all-time highs at 120 grand, 360,000 US dollars. So absolute ton of money. But the network hash rate this high, you're gonna have to be pretty lucky to be able to hit a block. But as we've said, you got to be in it to win it. But that is going to wrap it up there, guys. Let me know what you think. A little bit of fun, you just think a waste of money. I personally think they're really, really cool and a good way to get started, you know, securing the network, as they say, by solo mining or even mining Bitcoin if you want that 10 cents a day. Hit that like button for me if you liked the video. Consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.